We've talked about Psych a lot on the Midnight Special.
Lavender Humes.
We've talked about Psych a good bit on the Midnight Special.
My name is Sean. This is Sean. No relation.
But we've never talked about Psych really on main episodes, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought we should cover some information of our personal thoughts around it, and also address the situation with the Psych, the fourth movie. Okay. So they had the fourth movie set up. Peacock was ready to fund it. Everything was good. And then the actors couldn't get scheduling in place. Mm-hmm. So that kind of collapsed the whole production. That also removed the approval they had from, Peacock to fund the script and everything. So when that falls through, then they have to go through the whole process again to get approval from Peacock. They're going to pay for it to make sure that the script is still approved, and then do the whole process again. So apparently they did all of the groundwork in the pre-production, and then it got to production, and the scheduling just made the film fall apart. Mm-hmm. So they said that they're going to pursue, hopefully not too long, the fourth movie again. They just have to go through the process. This is straight from James Roday, who does a lot of directing for the Psych, not just acting. So that's the situation with the fourth movie. What I wanted to throw at you guys, because we're big fans of Psych, the show. All right. I not a lot of people loved it, but if you're a psycho,
there's a lot of
hold
people
on. Let me finish my thought, bro. Not a ton of
there's a
psychos.
lot of people who liked it.
Contextually,
Yeah.
I was setting myself up to say not a lot of people like certain things close to the end of the show, like Psych the musical. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
However, I loved it. I thought it was some of the best ever.
I liked it.
It was all fun. And then they come out with the movies.
Both ways, the left way and the
The
right.
only song you remember.
No, I remember a lot of it.
It's the right way and the wrong way, not the
It's been a
left
minute.
way and the right way.
He cut me off. I'm blame White.
Okay.
And then you have Psych the movie. Then you have, I believe it's called Psych 2 Lassie Come Home. And then the one that came out, I think, 2 years ago was It's All About Gus, or a Gus story or something, where they talk a little bit about it. And unfortunately, like, the show finished, and then in the movies, Lassiter, the guy who plays Lassiter, had a stroke, and so his character, like, fundamentally changes. And they just, although he's there and they're really utilizing him, he's really struggling to do the acting thing now, which is kind of sad to watch.
I think he was in another show that was like very musical.
He was. I'm pretty sure he was in a Broadway play for a while.
He just and then that show didn't get picked up, and he was in the Broadway play for that show as well.
Was this before? Or
Before.
And this was before.
Before,
and I think
Yeah, so I don't think he's doing a lot of acting anymore, but since he played such a big role as Lassiter in Psych, they bring him back and throw him in there and just kind of help him through the process. But with all that said, there's been 3 movies. They're looking to do a 4th. Have you guys watched the movies? Have you sampled it at all?
I'm pretty sure I've watched all of them. Maybe not the last one, but I think
2 of them.
I think I've seen all of them. I enjoy it enough to take time to watch them, but I don't remember anything about the last one.
I've seen 2 of them, and boy.
All right, so this
They're not as good.
is the
They're
point.
not
Do we
as
want
good as
do we
the
want
show.
more Psych? Do we want more Psych movies?
No.
That's the question I'm
It-
posing.
I think they kind of gave us a close in a sense with the end of the show, being that they moved to a different city and
Moved to San Francisco.
that was very emotional. But then they tried to do stuff again, but they're not in
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara, and it just
They don't have the Psych office.
Yeah,
They have a new Psych office.
and I know there's episodes where they're not in Santa Barbara, but it didn't feel like Psych.
So you're right. There is aspects. You're really trying to build the cornerstone of Psych around Gus and Sean, and sometimes it just doesn't land as heavily as the show did. And I think when they said they were making Psych movies, I thought, like, man, this is going to be like a cinematic Psych, you know what I mean? But really it's kind of a TV movie, which is the exact same style of production as the show. It's just ends up being an hour 20 instead
That's the
of
problem.
45 minute
It feels
episode.
like a TV movie.
Yeah,
It is.
Where
It is.
the scenes are filmed the same. the interactions are filmed the same, like it would be filmed for a TV episode.
Right.
It doesn't feel like,
and the writing is the same as a TV episode.
It's TV show writing. It doesn't feel like the way a movie should be written. There's a clear difference between Star Trek shows and the Star Trek movies.
Yes,
They
work.
You can clearly see in
There's a
the
big
show,
difference.
in like, you know, with the original show, it's very episodic. Dialogue is quicker, but then you go into the first one or even the second one, Wrath of Khan, which is a lot of people's favorites, and it's a very different kind of thing. It's a movie.
It's a film.
It's a film.
Yeah.
And with this,
The movies for this don't.
it's
feel
TV
like that.
writing for an hour 20 instead of 10 episodes of
So-
40-minute long episodes.
Psych the musical, I think, worked. The movies so far have not worked.
But was Psych the musical was a longer episode
Yes.
as a part of the last season. It was almost like a last season special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was
And
embedded
'cause
inside of the
but it
season.
fit in the lore of
did.
where it wasn't.
But they really went off the rails. I mean, they had a Mary in Heaven scene.
Well, it fit between two other seasons, like where Juliet didn't know,
Right.
hadn't, you know, and so people were confused. But it fit into the show. It wasn't kind of like outside of the show.
Right.
So-
it backed up in time. It wasn't sequential for the season it was placed inside of.
I think the only way that another movie would really like be good and work is if they set up they focus more on the crime, and they had some character stuff in there, but they focused on the other ones didn't have as much crime because they wanted to tell the story of them, but maybe bring back like yin and yang somehow. Like,
I think that book is closed.
you think?
I think so. They
need-
dragged it on, and honestly, it was kind of a conclusion that was a bit of a letdown. You know, I felt like I wanted something more. So closing that book closing the yin yang narrative is important. I think it
Maybe
needed to happen.
a different type of yin and yang, like a serial killer.
Sure.
That,
See, I always think of when there's this discussion of how do we keep this thing that we love going. It goes back to a lot of the show Community. Dan Harmon does a ton of commentary in the show about continuing a show. About how do you keep a show going? What are you doing?
Right.
You know, are you changing it to a cartoon? Are you continuing it with a cartoon, or are you continuing it in a dark, a darker side character thing, or are you continuing it with like a buddy cop angle?
Right.
It's finding a way to continue this show with like a spin-off.
Right.
And
Okay, and another example.
spin-offs and reboots
Right.
and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what these movies feel like. It's like
Sort of.
we need to make more of this thing. And I think a lot of the time you need to know when something comes to an end.
Sure, but I think it needs to be tested, all right? So a show that did this successfully, and they didn't go ahead and do movies, but was Arrested Development, all right? So they finished Arrested Development. It didn't get picked up, and then Netflix started doing original content. And Netflix funded for Ron Howard to continue like a new branch of Arrested Development, right?
Yeah.
And the new Arrested Development, although the structure of the stories feels a little bit more convoluted and all over the place, the humor is still there, right? And I think that still works. Whereas this, they tried to do a continuation, like you're saying, but they did it in a new format, but they kept everything else the same. So my theory is you watch through Psych, there's around 10 to 12 episodes a season, and you don't like every episode. You love a lot of jokes in almost every episode, but you don't like every episode. Doesn't matter that much. You got eight episodes in a season you mildly like or you love. You write and prep and do a whole movie that's just an hour 20, hour 40, whatever, that is following the same format. Well, you might end up just doing a movie that would be an episode that people don't like, but you've put all this energy into like this feature film. Whereas before in TV format, you can just bypass it.
What? Is it?
Yep.
Just say something.
No. I wasn't gonna say anything.
But instead you just sit there just. It looks like you're over here about to have a seizure.
No, I know what you're saying.
So it's just you invest a lot of time, money, and energy into something that really should just be
that people aren't going to care for.
It should just be a season. Like, just if you want to bring Psych back, just give us another season. See if the audience is receptive to it. Right? Just put in the effort to give us another season.
If you're going to experiment with something, do I guess one of those reboot, rerun, spin-off things. Do a serious, dramatic spin-off, 8-episode series with Gus.
Sure.
Just do something like that where it's serious, where he's working through legitimate problems, depression, something.
Joshua's not interested.
If Sean and Gus are not in it, then I think they should just end it.
Well, they're always in it.
Yeah, they have to have both of them in it.
But I think it would be more enjoyable to do something like that than to do a movie where they're both in it and nobody watches it.
So here's the thing with Psych. I think
just end it then.
I think it doesn't matter what they create. There's probably a loyal 20,000
I would say
people that are diehard fans of Psych. It doesn't matter what's put out, right?
Yeah.
20 to 40,000 people. So even if it's not super successful, it doesn't matter because like Peacock, they're going to put on their streamer and it's the whole Netflix issue. You don't have to make the best thing because we're selling a library. We're not selling a movie. You know what I mean? So they can fund a movie that only a small amount of people like and really don't make much money off of it. Because it's just, there's going to be thousands of people that enjoy this. And so it's not like a big money-making business to do Psych again.
But this isn't like a lot of the shows that people loved and then got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
This is a show that was on TV for a lot of years and ended.
Finished and people loved it.
And people loved it.
And that's why they made the movies.
So it's more, I guess... embarrassing is not the right word.
They just don't want to see it go away. They ended on such a good note. They just want to parlay
It's more annoying to keep coming back.
Right.
Whereas, there's loyal fan bases to other shows that were canceled or canned and never got resolution.
Right.
And those are the ones where people are like, we need a movie. We want more of this.
We need to finish the story.
Please do something. Those ones are the ones I feel like where you're in agreement. I don't need more of this.
Right.
I got it all, and I can rewatch an entire story.
And you can rewatch. How many seasons was there?
8.
9?
8?
I think there was 9.
Nope, 8.
All right, 8 seasons. We'll say. I think there's 9. We'll say 8 seasons. That's a lot of episodes of just Sean and Gus Gold. And you don't even have to watch the movies. But you're right. I think we all kind of agree. Psych, the movies don't need to happen.
Mm-hmm.
If it feels like a burden to get this thing off the ground, don't bother. Just let it be what it is. We're going to keep watching Psych. We're going to do the rerun thing. We're never going to let it die.
8.
Whatever. We're never going to let the love for Psych die. But the movies are not keeping that love here. You know, it's organic. It's built in. So you don't have to make a movie to remind us that we love Sean and Gus. That's all I have to say. So I think we are in agreement. Is that a good?
Yeah. What if they did a Arcane style 3D cell shaded super serious
Finish it.
with
cut the head
Sean
off.
and Gus, and they live in like and they're kind of like Sherlock Holmes in steampunk.
No.
In steampunk San Francisco.
Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure.
It could be funny.
I'm pretty sure the love for Psych was the physical humor of Sean and Gus.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And that won't translate into
I'm just
animation.
saying, if you're really gonna revamp it, go with something super modern.
Sure, but people won't like it.
You don't know that.
I know.
I feel like I could
People
write,
would like the
I could
animation.
write something that would be interesting.
people would like the animation, but it's not going to be Psych because people love Psych for these characters and how they interact with each other that wouldn't translate over animation that well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Like
I don't know.
We need the subtleties. We need the face on the screen that says, "Hi, my name is Lenny." You know, we need that kind of stuff.
I think you can do something with animation that would be close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could give it a go, and I'll watch it to see, but I don't think you could recapture
I think
that
you could.
magic.
The body language would be different.
It'd be difficult.
But it's not like nobody's ever done humor in cartoons before.
Do you think humor lands well? Kung Fu Panda's pretty freaking
It's
funny.
almost like many cartoons started with humor.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
Looney Tunes.
it's hard. Yeah, that it started with humor though. It's not that something was live action. They went back to cartoon, or not back. They went to cartoon.
I'm just saying. I think that's a better option than continuing to do live stuff.
But that still feels
cut off
like
the head.
that still feels like a cool experimental episode inside of a season,
Right.
Not a movie.
Not a movie. Yeah.
Which they did a lot of that. They did like the Clue. They did like the horror. They did like the Teen Wolf. They did a whole bunch of genres of episodes.
They never did an animated episode, did they?
No.
That didn't start happening. I guess that didn't really work for like the cop style shows.
Not necessarily. But they did a lot of different fun genres of styles and themes for episodes that was kind of built around like popular movies or popular genres of movies, which was fun. And don't worry about Psych 4. James Roday, just let it drift away and we'll keep watching the show.